Welcome back to the Explore Africa series. Are you excited to be here today?
Yes!
So today we're going to be looking at the topic titled the Sahel region. And the main objective is to review the Sahel territories, its geography and climate, vegetation and wildlife, and the economy and challenges that region has having to deal with over the years. So introduction, the Sahel is a semi-arid region in Africa that stretches from the Senegal, northwest of Africa, to Eritrea, northeastern Africa. It's a transition zone between the Sahara Desert to the north and the tropical savannas to the south. The Sahel is made up of flat, barren plains that stretch roughly 5,400 kilometers across Africa. So the Sahel stretches from the Atlantic Ocean eastward through northern Senegal, southern Mauritania, the Great Bend of the Niger River, in Mali, Burkina Faso, the southern Niger, northeastern Nigeria, south central Chad, and into Sudan. You see that it cut across so many countries. The Sahel was once home to several indigenous African kingdoms, and it is literally, it means edge or border in Arabic. So looking at the geography and climate of the Sahel region, it is typically a semi-arid climate, meaning there is little rainfall. It consists of vast plains, plateaus, and low-lying hills. The landscape varies from sandy deserts in the north to more vegetated grasslands and scrubland further south. And the climate is usually low and irregular rainfall, leading to frequent droughts and desertification in some areas. The temperatures in the Sahel region can vary widely, with hot summers and cooler winters. So mid-arid climate essentially means a dry climate with distinct wet and dry seasons. Okay, so it's not fully dry all the time, and you have some patches of wet seasons in there. So the vegetation and wildlife of the Sahel region, the vegetation consists of thorny shrubs, grasses, and acacia trees adapted to arid conditions. Okay, so you have these trees that can withstand or adapt very well to the weather condition in that region. And along watercourses and in more fertile areas, trees like baobabs and shea butter trees are found in that region. So despite its arid nature, the Sahel is home to a variety of wildlife, including antelopes, gazelles, desert adapted species like the Adax and Dockers gazelle. Then we have bird species like ostriches, vultures, and eagles are mainly found in that region as well. Then the culture and the people in that region, in terms of population, the Sahel is inhabited by diverse ethnic groups, including the Fulani and Tuareg, Hausas as well, from the northern part of Nigeria, the Songais, and various Berber and Arab tribes. These people are mainly nomadic and farmers, meaning the main means of income for them or the economy that is focused around their livelihood is mainly agriculture and raising animals. These are the common livelihoods in that region. Then in terms of the cultural diversity in the Sahel region, it is culturally rich with a tapestry of traditions, languages, and artistic expression. So if you're talking about the whole region that stretches from the northwest of Africa to the northeast of Africa, it's a huge section of the African continent, and it cuts across a lot of countries. So you're gonna have diverse ethnic groups, different kind of languages just across that stretch of the African region. And of course, it means that the traditional music, dance, storytelling, craftsmanship, which are integral parts of the Sahel culture, will be diverse as well. Because we're talking about even different groups of people, with different traditions and culture. So like we said before, the agriculture, livestock rearing, and trade are the primary economic activities in the Sahel region. Crops such as millet, sorghum, and these are some of the things that we talked about when we're looking at the African cuisine. Cowpeas are grown, while livestock like cattle, sheep, and goats are raised. One of the main challenges in the Sahel region includes food insecurity, because they have more hot season than wet seasons. So there's sometimes food insecurity and poverty, and environmental degradation as well have an impact on that region. Then I think climate change as well has contributed more in terms of desertification, meaning that the place is becoming more desert-like, like a semi-arid environment. So when you have desertification, it means that even the amount of rainfall you have in that region even reduces significantly. And as well, there's been a lot of political instability in that region. That's been part of the challenge that they have, leading to humanitarian crisis and migration. So if there is no food, there's no water, right? What people would do essentially is start moving to places where people can find better livelihood. And we've seen, due to these challenges, we've seen international efforts and aid and development. So various organizations like United Nations and other countries provide aid and support for development projects in the region. So initiatives focus on improving food security, access to clean water, healthcare, education, and sustainable land management. And other solutions that have been provided, such as community-based solutions, and these are local communities and organizations are actively involved in implementing solutions to address challenges such as desertification through techniques like agroforestry, water management, and soil conservation. So looking at the timeline of the Sahel region, it's quite difficult to kind of find a historic timeline. I've said before, this region cuts across so many countries, and each of these countries have their own individual history, right? So we've broken this down into like 4 different historical timelines, and in each of them, you have more or less timelines in timelines, like history within history. So in the prehistory and ancient times, 10,000 BC, that's when we have early human presence in the Sahel region with evidence of hunter-gatherers societies. Then between 5,000 to 1,000 BCE, We have the development of agricultural societies in the region with domestication of crops like millet and sorghum. Then in the first millennium, BC to 7th century CE, we have the emergence of ancient African kingdoms such as the Kingdom of Ghana, Mali, and Songhai, which flourished due to trade routes passing through the Sahel. The next, we have the medieval and early modern period, which ran the first part of that from the 8th to the 16th century. Sahel becomes a crossroad of trade between North Africa, West Africa, and the Mediterranean, with cities like Timbuktu and Gao becoming centers of commerce and Islamic scholarship. Between the 10th and 15th century, the Ghana Empire, Mali Empire, and later the Songhai Empire dominate the Sahel region, controlling trade routes and amassing wealth through gold and salt trade. And within the medieval and early modern period, the late 19th century, European colonization of Africa begins, leading to the partitioning of the Sahel region among colonial powers like France, Britain, and Germany. So in the colonial and post-colonial period, between the late 19th and early 20th century, European colonization disrupts traditional societies and economies in the Sahel, leading to resistance movements and the impositions of colonial rule. Then in the 1960s, many Sahelian countries gained independence from colonial rule, leading to the formation of modern nation states. And between 1970s and 80s, the Sahel region experiences severe droughts, leading to widespread famine and humanitarian crisis. And in the 21st century, Sahelian countries continue to grapple with challenges such as political instability, ethnic conflicts, terrorism, and environmental degradation, while also making strides in economic development and regional cooperation. So you can see the contrast between, in that strip, right? You have some countries that are thriving, and you have some other countries that are actually, declining. So it's quite interesting mix of economic progress and degradation as well. So the last in our timeline is the environmental and climate events. So we see that in the 1970s to 80s, where we see severe droughts devastate the Sahel, leading to widespread famine and loss of life. Then from the 2000s to the present day, climate change exacerbates environmental challenges in the region, including desertification, soil degradation, and water scarcity, impacting agricultural productivity and livelihoods. So in present day, the Sahel region remains a complex and dynamic geopolitical landscape characterized by ongoing efforts to address economic development, security concerns, and the environmental sustainability through regional cooperation, international aid, and community-based initiatives. So quiz time. Question number 1. Which of the following is not a characteristic of the Sahel region? A. Dense rainforest. B. Semi-arid landscape. C. Transition zone. Question number 2. What is the primary economic activity of many people living in the Sahel region? A. Fishing. B. Agriculture. C. Mining. Question number 3. The Sahel region stretches from A. Southwest to northeast of Africa. B. Northwest to northeast of Africa. And C. Southeast to southwest of Africa. Question number 4. What environmental challenge has the Sahel region faced in recent decades, leading to desertification and soil degradation? A. Flooding. B. Hurricanes. C. Droughts. Question number 5. Which city in the Sahel region was historically known as a center of Islamic scholarship and trade? A. Lagos. B. Timbuktu. C. Nairobi. So A, B, B, C, B. So in conclusion, the Sahel region is a dynamic and diverse transitional zone that spans across the African continent, serving as a bridge between the Sahara Desert to the north and the savannas and tropical forest to the south. Despite its challenges, including environmental degradation, political instability, and economic hardships, the Sahel region remains resilient, with communities adapting to changing circumstances and striving for sustainable development. The Sahel's rich history, cultural heritage, and natural resources contribute to its significance as a pivotal region in Africa. From ancient empires and trade routes to modern-day struggles and advancements, the Sahel embodies the complexity and resilience of African societies. Efforts to address the region's challenges require collaboration, innovation, and long-term solutions that prioritize the well-being of its people and the preservation of its environments. And through international cooperation, investments in education, infrastructure, and sustainable development initiatives, the Sahel region can unlock its potential and thrive in the face of adversity. Thank you very much.
And if you in the next, let's go African history.